everyone, welcome to another Something Bad Thursday, and today I thought it would be interesting to discuss a film that is going to be coming out soon that is based upon a book that got fairly popular recently. I would say probably 2 years ago or so. It sort of came after the Twilight craze and pretty much is the second wave of Twilight craze, in my opinion. And as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about 50 Shades of Grey, or at least the hype surrounding 50 Shades of Grey. Now, the reason why I think this is bad on so many levels is because I think 50 Shades of Grey is a horrible book with horrible messages in it. And I don't think it provides any value to its readers. And I think it would have definitely been better used for toilet paper. I really do. It's just that simple because there's nothing in this book that speaks any kind of talent or any kind of writing capability. So I'm going to be going through my reasons as to why I believe that it's conveying bad messages and why I believe the hype surrounding it is just really bad and annoying. So without further ado, let me sort of get into this. Now, like I've mentioned before, 50 Shades of Grey did sort of hop along that Twilight bandwagon. Because if you look at 50 Shades of Grey and its story, there's a lot of sort of similarities and nods to Twilight. You have a very, very insecure and bland female character as your lead. Check one. You've got this obsessive, kind of crazy, psychotic male lead as your male protagonist. Second comparison on the list here. And you've also got a romance that makes absolutely no sense and doesn't provide you any value both either emotionally or logically. So you have nothing really to go on with these stories, and in particular with Twilight. And I think it's definitely the same for 50 Shades of Grey. And the other thing too is that the romance is that they treat these romances like they're somehow special and unique. And to me, these romances are, again, I would say more so 50 Shades of Grey, are more based around the concept of lust. And again, I'm not saying lust is a horrible thing. But what I am saying is that it tries to paint this picture that it is a representation of love, when really it's not, because really it's just lady porn. That's all this book is. So yeah, I just don't like how it tries to manipulate its audience, and I don't like the fact that the romance is fairly manipulative, because Christian Grey is just not a good romantic lead man. He's just not. Because, again, he's fairly manipulative to the main female protagonist in the book. And so is Edward to Bella, and Bella's sort of the same to Edward, except in 50 Shades of Grey, it's definitely Christian Grey all the way. As far as manipulation tactics go. But yeah, they try to make this seem like this is a normal relationship when it's not. And again, they try to put it into the real world. They try to make this somehow within a setting that would make it somehow believable and existable, when really it doesn't. And it doesn't try to provide an emotional or intimate connection, because there's nothing emotionally intimate about any of these love stories, because they're all either sexual in nature, or they're just and abusive, or they're just plain unbelievably bland. So that was a big issue that I had with this series. Is it's very sort of psychotic nature that it takes, and in doing so tries to label it as love when really it's not. Um, and therefore, this leads to my second point. I don't believe 50 Shades of Grey holds up when it comes to providing a representation of what love is, and I think it actually spits on the concept and replaces it with this very uh, just awfully put together porn episode. I mean, it's like reading porn. That's all it is. And I can't believe that they somehow think that that's love. And yes, you can make certain parts of love that are based within lust, you can make those intimate. You can make those fairly loving and, and can really get the audience invested in them. But here it's so based within base urges that it's nothing more than just, it doesn't feel like you're going on a romantic journey. It feels like you're just going through a really messed up relationship that can only end fairly badly, and that's why it is not a good ride. And it's like, again, this is why I don't think it represents love in a good or interesting way. Um, and I think there's also something else that people miss when it comes to this story. They think that, um, you know, Christian Grey has this flaw, and that flaw is that he's abusive. And they try to excuse his abuse by saying, well, he's really good guy, but he still abuses. But abuse is abuse, and abuse is horrible. Like, people shouldn't abuse other people and manipulate other people, and Christian Grey is doing that throughout the entire book. And I really, really don't like it. I think we need to call a spade, and the truth is he's just this generic bad boy that we've seen out of Twilight. I mean, he is Edward. He's basically Edward cloned, except not a vampire. And I think there's also this sort of dangerous element that comes into the picture that somehow gets the audience and the demographics riled up because, ooh, it's dangerous, it's forbidden, there's something wrong. And the thing is you don't really need to show things going wrong in such a way that you show them, especially when it comes to manipulation and things like abuse. And I really don't like the way it conveys abuse and treats it like, yeah, that this is somehow normal behavior, and that, yeah, we should accept this somehow just because a book expressed it. And to be honest, I don't get it. I don't get this whole idea of how abuse is somehow love. It's not. It's abuse. Call it what it is. So that's something that really bothered me throughout the book, and really bothers me about this hype, because everybody likes to hype on the fact that it has kinky stuff in it. And the thing is that anybody can write kinky stuff. It's how you write it, and how you carry the characters. And again, it's not carried all that well in the story. So, and you end up having a fairly abusive male lead um, as your example of masculinity. And to me, that is just disgusting. And I think this spits on both men and women in general. And I think it's just horrible. It's just spewing out all of these horrible messages to people. And again, that goes with, thinking abuse is okay, thinking that being manipulated is okay, thinking that, doing all these kinky stuff that happens in the book is somehow normal, and yeah, that's the norm, and that everybody should accept that. I think that's stupid. So yeah, those are the things that really did bother me, that the book was really trying to force on its audience. And there's no beauty to this story. Like, there is nothing beautiful in 50 Shades of Grey. As you're reading it, it's like a tortured war zone. Like, it's there's nothing in here that conveys to me, wow, that's inspirational, or wow, that's beautiful, or wow, I really do see how these two people connect with each other. There is no aha, wow, there's no wonder. There's nothing beautiful. There's nothing that describes what love should be to me, or conveys even a lesson about love, really. um and I just don't like how um it tries to convey this as somehow, yeah, this is a normal relationship when it's not. uh and that, yeah, okay, it's yeah, it's somehow all right that um that these two don't bond at all, and they just have uh kinky antics throughout the entire thing, and saying that somehow that's a representation of love. No, it's not. Go back and do your homework. You don't know how to show beauty. You don't. And love. You don't show any of those things. You don't. You don't, book. You don't. And this movie is definitely not going to show it either. Now, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about that just came out recently, because, again, the 50 Shades of Grey film is actually coming out this Valentine's Day. Ha ha ha! Oh, perfect timing. Oh, yeah. Yep. Brilliant marketing strategy there, 50 Shades of Grey. Brilliant marketing strategy. But they basically, I've read around through this article that was spread on my Facebook page, that they are selling 50 Shades of Grey toys, in particular stuffed bears. Like, you know how people give each other stuffed bears for Valentine's Day? That's what they're giving out. That's what they are selling to try to hype up this movie. I am not kidding you. And literally, it comes with, he's dressed like a really rich, corporate guy. That's what Christian Grey is supposed to be. And he's got the cuffs. Like, literally, he's got the cuffs attached to him. Freaking teddy bear has cuffs. Cuffs attached to it. Dang it. Why? Why, society? Just why? What gave you the idea of putting an innocent teddy bear through such torture like that, and making him a product for your kinky, crappy movie adaptation? Like, just beyond me. And speaking of the movie, this movie, already by the trailers, I can tell it's already leading to Twilight territory. Like the characters are so bland. They're just these pretty white people. And the girl doesn't know that she's pretty, and oh, it's painful to watch. This girl, even the main female protagonist, she has no personality. She is so unbelievably insecure. And Christian Grey takes complete advantage of that, and you can even totally see it within the trailer. If you just watch the trailer, you can tell that this is supposed to be really a horror story, if anything. It's not supposed to be a love story. But people are somehow making it seem like this is somehow some great romantic thing. And it's not. I mean, this is nothing that in any way, shape, or form can... Hi. Yes, I'll give you the papers before I go to bed. Yep. Sorry, that was just my mom asking me about something. Yes, back to my point. Yes, the already I can tell by the trailers, by the way they're trying to market this film, they're trying to make it seem like it's somehow, sexy. It's somehow, clever and sophisticated, when really it's just a bunch of nonsense, and it's a bunch of trash just written on pieces of paper, and to get girls to indulge in that kind of fantasy. And to be honest, as a girl, I am completely turned off by that fantasy. Like, I don't see the appeal to it. I don't see the fun in it. What, just because he's rich? Is that why, he suddenly has some weight just because he's rich, and good looking? Like, is that literally all that Christian Grey has to offer? Because I think literally that's pretty much all he has to offer. Oh yeah, and by the way, how about I abuse you while I take advantage of you, and manipulate you into thinking that you know I really do love you? Because really, when you look down at into the story, Christian Grey does not in any way, shape, or form love the female protagonist. He does not provide any sense of care, love, or protection, or nothing, nothing positive about masculinity within this story. And so all I have to say is that this is I think a horrible message to send to um, both men and women when it comes to relationships. I think it's a really dumb message to send to people in regards to what we consider, normal when it comes to, dealing with things like that, like abuse and manipulation. It's almost like, yeah, it's attractive, it's dangerous. It's like, no, I mean, yes, it's literally dangerous, but no, you shouldn't pursue that. You shouldn't like that, because those things end up to leading into consequences, and leading to a lot of pain and suffering, and a lot of emotional baggage that ends up coming out of it. And yeah, that's why I don't get it. That's why I really don't get it. I don't understand the significant amount of hype that is surrounding this movie or this book, but I think it has to do with that there is some kind of, danger to it. There's some kind of, naughtiness to it. And you can put naughtiness within a book, but to put it in this level and dumb it down so significantly, shows you that it's nothing more than just woman porn. I mean, that's all this book is, really. And yeah, pretty much hyped up for a movie. And I bet you they're gonna make 3 of them, because there are 3 books of 50 Shades of Grey. So yeah, once they bank on this film, they'll bank on the next film next year, which will probably come out on Valentine's Day. And so the following year, maybe, if they choose to make a 3rd one, if they decide to go down that route, depending on how much money the first film makes, which I am thinking is a lot, because there was a lot of views on the trailer. There was a lot of media exposure for this film, and I am really dreading it. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to expose myself to it, and I don't want to be part of the hype that is around 50 Shades of Grey, because I think there's just so many awful messages, so many stupid things throughout the book, that I think it's just not worthy of anybody's time. Literally, when you just start reading a paragraph, you're just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to read this anymore. There's nothing going on here. So, yeah, I think that's really ultimately all I can say. Though, about this whole 50 Shades of Grey hype and, kind of fiasco, I guess you could say. But yeah, I just think it's just bad. I just don't think it's of good quality and of good entertainment value. I just don't think for anybody. So, and that's just my honest opinion. And I totally understand if there's others who think differently than I do, but to be honest, this is how I feel, and I think there's just a lot wrong with it, and I don't see a whole lot of good in it. So that's why I think that it's really sending a bad message to society, and but at the same time, films and books are supposed to sort of convey our state of society. So maybe we can learn something from it, even though it is, I think, horrible. But yeah, that's just my honest opinion, though. I think it's it's just one of those uh, series of books that uh, got popular because of its demographics that it was aiming for, and the demographics fell for it, and now they're getting a movie dedicated to it. So yeah, I think that's really ultimately though all I can say. Again, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. This is not to say that I am against anybody who holds the opinion that 50 Shades of Grey is the best thing in the world. I'm just saying that I have a lot of issues with it, and that's just my honest opinion. But I'm more than happy to hear you out if you think something different. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.